Welcome back to Living Local. One Quad Cities author will present her family's inspiring journey of resilience and perseverance as told in her children's book, The Family Tree, on Saturday, April 20th at the Rock Island Watts-Midtown Branch Library. And here to tell us all about it is the one, the only Author Shellie Moore Guy. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. It's
good
always
to
a
be
pleasure.
here.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to have you here. You're one of my favorite guests.
Thank
Are you kidding?
you.
So I love that this is a children's book with a very important topic. Now, how did this story find you? Because I know it literally found you.
It really did. It's such a long story, you know. As a storyteller, I could tell this story.
I know you could.
But let's just condense it. So I had met one of my person who turned out to be one of my great friends. I want to say her name is B.J. Elsner.
Okay.
She was a reporter, a writer at the Quad City Times here.
Okay.
Years ago, early 90s is when I met her. And she had edited a history book.
Okay.
You know, counties, Rock Island County history or whatever. And she wanted to, she was going to do an article unrelated. And so we met. She looked at my last name and she asked me some questions, and my answers told her that I think I know your great-great-grandfather.
Oh, wow, okay.
Who that was, and I... Is that crazy?
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's really how it found me. There's a lot more to that story, but that's how it found me. She brought me the book. It was an edited version. My great-great-grandfather, Charlie Wilson, his mother, Rachel, sister, Celia, and brother Sandy had been enslaved in Glasgow, Kentucky, Barron County. And at some point, you know, well, so I'm bringing the story forward now.
Yeah.
After the end of the Civil War, the family moved to Rock Island.
Okay.
And because they were familiar with Rock Island, I'll tell you why in a second.
I can't wait for that, yeah.
John Hallberg, who people are familiar with, the Hallberg family, he was a writer and whatnot, interested in history in 1914, found my grandfather, Charlie Wilson, and interviewed him. That interview ends up among John Hallberg's papers at the Rock Island County Historical Society.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so now I've taken you back.
Yeah.
So let's move forward.
Okay.
So Charlie was born in 1836 in Glasgow, Kentucky. His mother, Rachel, had given birth to him, his sister, who was 4 or 5 years younger, and then a younger brother who was 12 years younger, Sandy. Charlie and Celia were owned by a man by the last name of Wilson. Okay. Their mother and brother were owned by someone totally different but related to this family. Anyway, in Charlie's interview, his we call it a slave narrative. That's kind of a common term for those stories. Charlie talks about what life was like during slavery as a little boy. He had been a horse jockey. He didn't call it horse jockey. He said he raced horses for his master, who owned blooded race horses and was a tobacco farmer and all these things. So he talks about that. He talks about when he got married. He talks about what he did after he got too big to ride horses. And then he talked about joining, he and several other men from his farm, he called it, and surrounding areas, went to join a colored regiment, the 108th. The 108th United States Colored Troops. They enlisted in Bowling Green, 1864, and went to Louisville, Kentucky, to become a part of the 108th. Yeah. So, among other things, other places, that regiment was sent to Rock Island Prison Camp, which is now the site of the Rock Island Arsenal. It had been during the Civil War a prison camp for Confederate prisoners. And that regiment, 980 men, were sent here to guard those prisoners. Charlie talked about the regiment being sent from here after 8 or 9 months to Vicksburg, Mississippi.
Wow.
During the war, and that's where the regiment, that's where they were at in Mississippi when the war ended. They mustered back to Kentucky, and in 1866 came back here to, Charlie came back here to live. I didn't tell you that when Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, at some point allowed the slaves and other freed men to join regiments and join the Union Army to abolish slavery, is what it was about. Well, that automatically freed those slaves, and it automatically, supposedly, was supposed to free their families, wife and families. And so Charlie's wife, my great-great-grandmother, Eliza, whom he married while they were enslaved, she and, at that time, they had 3 children, made it here to Rock Island while the regiment was served here, which is just totally fascinating.
There's a whole show in there, right there.
Right. Because, you know, your first question is, how did she get here, right? I had read some, in some research that I had done, that some of the regiments did allow the wives and families to maybe travel with them. I don't know if that happened in this regard, but she made it, Eliza, grandmother, Eliza made it to Rock Island with 3 children. And when the regiment was sent to Vicksburg, they weren't allowed to travel, so she stayed here.
Wow.
So in 1866, you know, he knows he's got to get back.
Well, I think you can make a whole series out of this.
Well, really,
is what I think it could be.
Right. So we condensed it into a children's book with little short chapters. The age group is, we say, 2nd, 3rd grade and up. There is a family tree in the back, but you know what I'm very proud of is that there's a study guide.
I was just thumbing through this and I saw that, and that's fantastic.
Right.
And how can people get the copy of this?
Well, you can go to the Midwest Writing Centers.
Midwest Writing Centers.
I think we have it right there.
There it is, the website
there.
Yeah.
You could get in touch with me, email ShellieMooreGuy@yahoo.com.
Perfect.
Yeah, so there's ways, but also, as you had mentioned, I'm going to do a book signing and a talk.
Let's talk about that real quick. Like, what can people expect at that?
Well, I'm really looking forward to it. I have, as people could gather, I have a good time talking about this topic. It is so amazing, the story is to me.
Yeah.
That is so amazing that not only does my family have this story to tell, but so many other families have these stories.
I love it, too,
You know, in the last several years, there's been a lot of interest about the United States Colored Troops.
And I highly recommend anybody Google the 108th, because there is stuff out there on it. It's fascinating.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Charlie's brother, let me say this, Sandy Terry somehow was able to, he was 12 years younger. He was 16 years old and joined this regiment. He ran away from his owner and joined this regiment, and Charlie and Sandy ended up in the same company of 108th, Company E.
Wow.
So Charlie comes back to Rock Island in 1866 to join Eliza and the 3 children. His mother, brother, and sister come to Rock Island in 1870. And this is where the family settled.
And here you are.
And here I am.
And that presentation is Saturday.
That is
at
Saturday.
the library, right?
Yes.
All right.
So we're going to talk about it, answer questions, and sign books.
Of course you will. Of course you will. Well, hey, I love it when you're here. I really appreciate it, Shellie. Thank you so much. And good luck with everything, my dear.
Thank you.
We'll have you back soon, I'm
Thanks
sure.
for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
To order your book, you can visit the website right there on your screen, and you can just search the family tree if you visit the Midwest Writing Center's website. You can also check out their presentation at the library on April 20th. We will have all those details posted at ourquadcities.com.